All right, Shirako asks, when you say fight like hell, you say it like you expect a victory. What does a victory look like in your eyes?
I've always said, look, if you pick a fight, first off, if you pick a fight that you know you can't win, that you'll lose, you're a fool. If you pick a fight that you know you will win, you're a bully. And I'll say with this, when we talk about fight like hell, and that obviously means Mug Club, your support, shopping, with merch, all of these things help support us. Obviously, we have lawsuits that we have currently, at least one right now currently filed with Facebook, and there probably is going to be some updates on that. Obviously, you guys can look at the Texas and Florida law. It's not a fight that we know we'll win. It's a fight that we know we can win, and that's enough. And that's how you have to pick your fights, because that forces you to prepare. It forces you to do your due diligence. It forces you to examine any flaws that you may have. And, okay, what can we do? And that's why we've thought of these issues. A couple of things. This is exactly why when we look at it and we go, okay, it's not a fight that we guaranteed we'll lose. That would be foolish, right? Then at that point, we should just not be on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter. We should just go away. And it's not a fight that we know we will win, because then we're going to be bullying someone. That's why we don't talk about TYT anymore, because we pass them, and that's punching down and it's bullying. I don't really like to do that. That's why you notice the people we go after typically tend to be international corporations. So a couple of steps that we've taken. This is why we don't just do nonprofit donations, right? That's a lot of conservatives. People talk about grifts, and that is true. Usually if someone is claiming a nonprofit for something that might seem usually like a for-profit endeavor, like a media company, like a speaking tour, like a book, you see this a lot, like a podcast network. You go, it's nonprofit. But usually I think of nonprofit as a charity. Right away the antenna go up. And the problem with that, or like National Rifle Association, my problem isn't that Wayne LaPierre had a luxury yacht. My problem is that he had a luxury yacht when he's beholden to donors from a nonprofit. So we've always, and also the money runs out, right? And the problem with donors is everyone has a different idea as to what they want. So that's why you have willingly supported us through commerce, through Mug Club, which is a great way, especially if you just keep it on auto renewal, guarantees that we have a baseline and we try to provide you with enough value. Or if you go and shop at Crowder Shop, we're releasing more designs. It allows us to do what we have to do and be mobile for a fight like this. And what do I mean by that? Well, if we had a bunch of donors and nonprofits, we wouldn't be able to say, okay, this is our approach with Facebook, this is our approach with YouTube. You have a bunch of conservatives who think you shouldn't be on YouTube, you shouldn't be on Twitter, you shouldn't be on Facebook at all because they're liberal corporations and it's just like buying Coke. It's a little bit different than buying Coca-Cola. The reason why is because all information is there. And if you want to reach new people, you need to be on those platforms, right? You can't just leave and preach to the choir. Right now, this is what's fun, is reading your chat. I know that you even notice we're looser, right? This is more fun for us. We'll experiment with the kind of content that maybe wouldn't work on YouTube. And I don't even mean impermissible or content that would be banned. I mean stuff that we go, hey, let's take a flyer on this. Let's read a BuzzFeed article. Let's have The Truth According to Manny. We'll do these weird segments because we know that you're our friends. You're the kinds of people, when we go to these live shows, we hang out with. That being said, I think that most of you also understand we want to have more friends in this group, and we need to go where the unreached are. And so if we had just nonprofit dollars, we would be beholden to all different kinds of people who don't have, or certainly don't share the same vision. And this isn't democracy. That's important to know. You need to have leaders of companies. You need to have leaders of even nonprofits, of movements, because someone at some point has to make a decision. And I will tell you this, maybe I'm wrong, maybe I'm right. What my decision has been, and our approach, and what would be a victory, is we at least pave the way, but certainly ourselves, and hopefully everyone thereafter, will have fair treatment on these supposedly independent platforms, right? Supposedly public platforms who are protected under the guise of 230 safe harbor laws because they're not held illegally liable for what's on their platform. So if we blaze that trail and it makes it so that the next Governor DeSantis isn't removed, so it makes it that the next scientist who doesn't speak out on the COVID vaccine, or even just say it could have blood clots, is removed, if it helps the next comedian telling jokes that some people may find offensive but allows him to be on YouTube so that people can choose the content they watch, that's a victory to me. And the victory to me is this company is able to be self-sustaining and grow completely unbeholden to any of the big tech companies. We are entirely beholden to you who voluntarily support us, and we're able to get this content out to the unreached. So that's why YouTube, Facebook, Twitter is important. Not that I want to give them our money. And here's the thing. If they're profitable and they're lying and they're banning people who say, hey, the COVID vaccine may cause blood clots, they shouldn't be profitable. They shouldn't be able to. I'm pro-business. I'm anti-fraud. But if they say, okay, we'll let all opinions on, but we're not going to monetize you, that's fine. YouTube doesn't owe me a check, nor does Facebook. But they do owe all Americans, if they're protected under the guise of being a platform, the opportunity to voice their opinions in the town square, no matter how offensive they deem it to be. And I certainly don't think saying, hey, 6 blood clots is warrant of banning from YouTube. So a victory to me is having more conservatives who are able to, and hopefully under this umbrella, people who are not beholden to big tech, but able to be just a thorn in their side because we are on the platforms and continually winning. Here's what it is. If I have to distill it, and I know my mouth is dry now because I've been talking all day. If we have to distill it, this is something we've talked about here at this company. We really don't spend a lot of money on advertising. Okay, we really don't spend. You notice I really don't do a lot of other shows or magazine spreads and like that. Like if we were doing like a rally in Michigan, I might hit a couple of shows. If it's a friend's show, I might do it by personal request. But when we did do advertising on YouTube before we were banned, we noticed something. So YouTube would call, or Google would call me and say, hey, if you spend money here advertising on Google or YouTube, right, we'll coach you on how to run effective ads. So we'll show you what you should run as ads, which videos you should run. Maybe, and we actually cut commercials. Like, hey, subscribe to my channel, that whole thing. And then these YouTube people would manage our ad campaigns, and they look at interaction rates, and that means how many people don't click skip ad. Okay, that's an interaction rate. Before videos on YouTube, not ours, but there's an advertisement that runs, and you can click skip. If you don't click skip in those 12 seconds, that's considered an interaction. That's an important metric. And when these YouTube created ad campaigns, of which we have a long and storied history, would get maybe an interaction of 15, 25%. These were things that they would say, hey, let's cut this commercial, encourage people to subscribe, do this targeting. And then I changed something. And what I changed was I just said, you know what, I'm not going to create commercials. The thing is I don't want people to get tricked. If people want to watch the content, then I want them on my channel. So I just want to but they may not know about the content. So what I started doing was any video, any episode that you see, I just started running it as an ad before other videos on YouTube. So when you watch a video and have a pre-roll ad, one of our shows might be playing. That's it. Could be an hour show. Could be a 30-minute video. Just started playing. No edits. And we noticed that the interaction rate, YouTube was so confused, they had never seen it so high. 45%, 56%, meaning 56% of people didn't click skip ad, and it resulted in a lot of new subscribers. And so ultimately, what we learned was, and this is because of you, the content supported by you. We don't need to trick people. If we get content in front of people, period, we win. And you see those numbers, and not only that, more importantly, you see it reflected by the op-ed, or the several op-eds you see in New York Times and Washington Post, where they say, how do we stop the right-wing echo chamber? How do we stop people from being radicalized? And they include people like me and Ben Shapiro and Philip DeFranco as folks who radicalize people. Because they notice that if content, meaning in this instance, our perspective, our opinions, our principles get in front of the masses on YouTube, on Facebook, on Twitter, we win. When there are no tricks, when there's no billions of dollars in advertising and a permanent banner on this site or on Facebook or on YouTube, when it's just, hey, here's the content available consistently, the content politically, culturally, that is aligned with our ideas wins. And so now they're saying, oh, let's just get rid of those ideas. So what a win is for me is just the ability to get the content and ideas in front of people. That's it. We do that, we win. You do that, you win. The statistics bear it out. What's a win? Getting the content and ideas in front of people. No tricks, nothing up my sleeve, and let the cards fall where they may.
Louder with Crowder is brought to you in part by
CrowderBits.com.
You don't have to be a freeloader your whole life. The good news is that you can support this show and the fight by buying some really cool clothes.
CrowderBits.com.